Wall Street spent the weekend waiting for Wednesday's inflation number. The Persian Gulf did not wait. Missiles hit a Saudi refinery on Sunday. A tanker took fire on Saturday. And oil opened Monday up more than 2%. The number the Fed sees this week was collected last month. The price of energy is being set right now. Here is where we start the week. The S&P 500 sits at a record 77.57 after its best week since April. Consumer price data lands Wednesday morning at 8:30 Eastern. Consensus says 3.4% annual inflation, 0.1% on the month. And underneath that calm, Brent crude jumped to around $84.30 this morning, up 2.6% after the worst weekend of Gulf escalation since June. The Strait of Hormuz has now been closed for 162 days. Here's the shape of it. First, the weekend. On Saturday, missiles struck a tanker owned by ADNOC, the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. No injuries, but a direct hit on Gulf shipping during an active negotiation. On Sunday, Houthi forces claimed a strike on Saudi Aramco's Jazan refinery, a plant built to process 400,000 barrels a day. The fire was put out. The message was not. Second, the negotiation those missiles landed in. Oman is mediating talks to reopen Hormuz, and Iran just published its price. Foreign Minister Araghchi says reopening requires compensation for what Tehran calls American violations of the Islamabad Agreement, the June deal that lasted less than a month. The Security Council chair went further: lift the naval blockade, withdraw forces, remove sanctions, release frozen assets. Oman still calls the atmosphere positive and constructive. Iran is rejecting direct talks with Washington. Both things are true, and oil is priced for the gap between them. Third, Wednesday. July's Consumer Price Index prints in the middle of all this. Remember what that number actually is. A survey of prices collected last month before this weekend existed. The market celebrated its way to a record partly because September rate hike odds collapsed after the jobs shock, from 67% to around 44%. A soft print Wednesday likely extends the party. But the input cost of everything, energy, is repricing in the opposite direction in real time. So you get a strange tape. Stocks at records, gold near a 7-week high around $4,340. Oil bid, bonds nervous with the 10-year near 4.64. Everything up is not a signal of health. It is a market hedging both outcomes at once, and Wednesday's stale number decides which crowd gets paid first. Here's the part that touches your money. Inflation data is a rearview mirror, and oil is the windshield. If Hormuz stays closed and crude holds above 80, that feeds into fuel, freight, and food, with a lag of weeks to months, which means Wednesday can be soft and September can still be ugly. The Fed knows this. It is why the September meeting is a live argument between officials looking at cooling jobs and officials looking at a closed strait. And Wednesday is only the opening act. Producer prices land Thursday, retail sales Friday, and Fed officials speak all week, every one of them reacting to the same print. By Friday afternoon, the market will have voted 3 times on whether July's calm survives contact with August's oil. Think of the strait as a single door for a fifth of the world's oil. When one door serves that many people, the person holding the handle sets the price for everyone in line. That is not a metaphor about Iran. It is the structure of every choke point market. And this week, the same logic shows up in Bitcoin's fork fight and in AI compute. Tonight, watch one thing: whether the Oman track survives the weekend strikes. Not advice, just the map. Record stocks priced for a stale number, and the real number floating on the water in the Gulf. So the question: if the price that matters is set at a choke point on the other side of the world, what exactly is Wednesday's number measuring? Tell us what you think in the comments. Do you trust the print or the barrel? Blue pill. Trust the data. Inflation at 3.4 and falling, jobs cooling, records are records. Ride the tape and let the Fed worry about straits. Comfortable, and it has worked all summer. Red pill, price the pipeline, not the printout. Energy leads, indexes lag, And 162 days of a closed strait eventually shows up in every receipt you sign. Harder to hold, but it is the read that saw this morning's move coming. Either way, now you know where to look. The timeline keeps moving. We will see you in the next one.